Hello, God bless. This is Daniel Maximoff with another vlog, and I do apologize for the mess behind me. Currently am, remodeling my room a little bit, so I do apologize in advance. So today's story is gonna be one that's been circling the web lately, from Instagram to Twitter to everywhere, even YouTube, and it's somehow creeping into my YouTube suggestions. It's regarding the infamous, the undesirable, the most hated. Well, currently I cannot say because because whether she's in her OG or now, she's still hated on. It's Snow White, and I want to get into it because it looks like the problem is a lot bigger than what it is, and hopefully this video will be completely different from the rest because everybody else is just repeating what everybody already know now. I'm just giving you my intel, what I think this is going to lead to if it keeps going on, and also my point and my honest take on this BS, because after all, everything about Disney has been said over and over and over and over again. I think by now it's redundant. So let's get into it. So as you all have seen with Rachel Zegler's situation and Gal Gadot and the drama surrounding this film and how it exceeds the film itself, like the drama surrounding it is a lot more entertaining and significant than actually the film itself, primarily because we have two women who apparently cannot act, let alone understand what's given to them, and they put these two together, and then you get this disastrous film under a studio that has caused severe conflicts and continues to cause severe conflicts, primarily because they are in the mix of this political mess that is not only in America but the whole world now. I mean, so Disney has evolved into Kingdom Heartless, where they butcher their own legacy. They melt all their IPs to the core until there's nothing left but the elephant graveyard. And on top of it all, they get told to stop doing what they're doing, and they keep doing what they want to do. They're like a rebellious teenage girl that you tell them no and you take away all of their stuff, and they still find a way to sneak out and do whatever they want. This is how Disney is basically turning into. And from all the films, because I can't say that I keep in track of the movies because I don't really watch movies anymore, and I don't really am into anything that Disney produces anymore, because all they do now is just superhero movies, remakes that are so piss poor that I don't know how they make it past pre-production. It's just, and horrible animated cartoons that have no significance, no story to tell, and you can tell that they're keen dangling films. It's just films put up there for you to give your toddler pet slash kids something to distract them from you for a long time, so you can be on your phone and do your thing while they're just distracted by the tablet. And that's all there is, really, which is pretty sad because it shows a negligence and a lack of understanding what it is to be a kid nowadays. You basically are just a pet, or a, I don't know, an avatar for your parents. It's kind of what it comes across as. And at the end of the day, this is a generation that is cold, and in truth it kind of highlights the Bible's interpretation as generation of vipers, if you will, because it kind of gives an understanding that these people they know what love is, but they don't quite, it doesn't compute. It just doesn't compute. Or hard work, or or how it takes to make something grand and culturally significant, etc. They just understand how to make a quick buck, and oh well, let's move to the next one. That's all that comes to their mind. So with Snow White and Rachel Zegler's moronic take on what it was, even though I already watched YouTube videos and I've seen posts of people who are born into or Gen Z-ish people. I guess the younger ones you can, and sometimes the older ones, but people who have seen Snow White and also have seen Once Upon a Time and have seen the Chris Hemsworth's Thor version of the film, and they know that despite the modern take, which is, I don't know what's going on with the modern take, but it's a horrible. It's like everything has been done. So what's the point of making something fresh? It's what the modern take is really is. It's just putting the political nightmare that you're living in, and basically injecting that into everything that nobody asked, nobody wants, everybody is against, but they still do it anyway because this is the Gen Z mindset. Trigger for the sake of trigger, and at the end of the day, all you really accomplish is destroying the content, this making a mess, a bigger mess of what it used to be something known and beloved by people. Now it's gonna be associated with this lady who makes no sense anything of her stance, and it goes back to politics, which has become a cult at this point that does not allow people to portray other people. It has completely dictated art, dictated taste, it dictates everything. It's like you're living under a shroud, it's like you're basically trapped in a dystopian novel in where you have to, the IPs that Disney has now are just name only. They now can be anything and everything at all the time at whatever point they want. So they're name only. There's no actual Snow White. Snow White can only branch into whatever they want it to be. And the consequences that come along with that is that you have no story to tell. And pleasing everyone, you please nobody. You really, that's what it is. Short-term gain, long-term damage is it's all that is accomplished here. Because then you cannot really have the character, you cannot really sit with the character down, because the character is not what you think it is. It's a lot of stuff that you haven't think about or you cannot relate to, and all you do is just drive the people insane. And I mean, it's truly sad what's coming out of this regime in Hollywood, and this culture, in this political atmosphere that is surfacing once again. Well, it has been around for a decade now, so I think now it's becoming more prevalent and severe. Is that you're driving people insane and you're sucking the life force out of people, because artistically, as humans, they connect to something. It's like, I cannot picture once the ship has sailed, once you claim an appearance of a character, and this is how the character is to be portrayed as, to go ahead and rebrand the character to something that is not at all synonymous with what it used to be, you basically are taking away someone's childhood, their past, their what all they known for years and years, because Snow White has been a part of people's childhood since the 1940s, 30s, whatever. So she's been around for a very long time. So that means that a lot of people can connect to the original character, because again, it has gone through it has aged and has passed along for years until this very moment where it's being attacked. And it's upsetting to see that, transpired, because it kind of gives a a very client. I was thinking about the other day about Stan Lee and the lady who made Mary Poppins. I forgot her, I keep forgetting her name. And I also was thinking of Stephen King, Ed Boon, and a lot of people who are creators, entrepreneurs, pioneers. And I'm like, is this the fate of all creators, to have your creations be taken away from you, destroyed by future generations, and turn into something that you never wanted it to be? Kind of like reminds me of Sid Phillips taking your toys and bringing them like mutated and completely opposite what you wanted it to present to the world, who is in need of love, who is in need of a symbol of hope, symbol of happiness. I mean, we've been fed for decades now of this depression, dark, realistic versions of what used to be cartoons and happy-go-lucky, tongue-in-cheek, you know, content from the past, and which ironic has only been a decade. So wow, the mighty power of a decade, which highlights how quickly things can turn a leaf for the worst. So is this the fate of all creators, to see your artwork, your concept, your empire crumbles down by a sinister force that feeds lies and propaganda to people, and turns them into Smurfs, evil, bitter people who cannot distinguish fantasy from reality. And and I know this is not. I know this the audience for this type of films like Snow White are small, because the it comes down to nostalgia, and the people behind the nostalgia is millennials and older Gen Z, and they're trying to push this sinister, grotesque nostalgia they have onto Gen Alpha, and the consequences are that not only are you alienating them, but you're also not making anything for them to be, happy about or consider nostalgia for themselves. Nobody's gonna remember Snow White's T minus a day. Nobody's gonna remember the nostalgia being pushed down minus 48 hours tops. These are movies made for nobody. These are terrible films after terrible films that have no story to tell. It's just them milking IPs, getting their money, and then to use for more terrible projects, more terrible architecture, and whatever it is that they're making behind the scenes. Because it's not just films. This extends to brands like there's a lot of money involved in this. You're looking at merchandise, theme parks. So it's something that branches out throughout. So you can only imagine the garbage in and out philosophy here. So it's crap inspired by crap, creating more crap. It's what it is. So this is passed to the younger kids, and the younger kids absorb all of this. And of course you get nihilism, and of course you get kids going haywire for turning into Miley virus, and basically you get rebelliousness and lawlessness, and of course you're gonna get all the negatives, because this is what's being fed to the kids. And I can understand where people are coming from. Oh, it's been around since the past, but now it's even worse, because now you have your phones, which are, I guess you can say, your mark. I mean, it's basically you're being controlled by a device, and obviously the device and app, and you don't when have you noticed that people are becoming colder and colder and bitter and lonelier, and they're not even making friends anymore or even going out on dates anymore. They just want it's me, and you get a generation of narcissists from all of this, and that's because narcissists are making this content, which is it spirals down. It has a domino effect. Again, short-term gain, long-term damage. Is this what you people want? And it's pretty sad to see like the old times fade and coming to this tempest that is a horrible modern age spin on everything that is just filters out of color. It filters out every color, and it's just like the worst nightmare. And it's ironic, and it's funny because I'm looking at the three, pictures in my background, The Matrix, and Back to the Future, and it kind of gives an inside view of what you're going into. So these are things I wish we could change for the better, but I know that at the end of the day, it's meant to pass. So things will get worse before they get better, and Snow White is just a bridge to that dystopian future that would only end when God arrives and the millennial kingdom happens. So I'm just I wasn't gonna get into it for so much because like I said, I've seen YouTube videos already, and not only YouTube videos but also people in their posts already letting people know what everybody already knows. So at this point, Disney just does whatever they want. They don't listen to anybody. They only listen to whatever makes the most money, which is a loud minority of people who are behind the mess. They're basically the engineers behind the mess that you see before you. So, with that being said, God bless, and I'll see you guys very soon.